In a world where the Roman Empire never fell, a young, brilliant engineer named Maximus is tasked with creating advanced technological wonders for the growing empire. However, he discovers a hidden manuscript revealing the true history of the world, one where Rome fell, leading to a vastly different global society. Torn between his responsibility to the empire and his curiosity about this potential alternate world, Maximus must choose which future he wants to shape. The emotional stakes rise as Maximus grapples with loyalty, truth, and what it means to love one's country. In the heart of an undying empire, where marble columns reached skyward and the roadways were lined with advanced machinery, Maximus lived a life of comfortable routine. As a young engineer, he was a valued asset in the thriving metropolis that stretched as far as the eye could see. Yet behind the grandeur of the city and his impressive title, Maximus was a man of simple pleasures and infinite curiosity. In the early morning, he would stroll through the city, absorbing the symphony of sounds that filled the air. The rhythmic clatter of machinery mingled with hearty laughter from the market square, the distant murmur of the flowing aqueducts, and the occasional triumphant cheer from the Colosseum. These were the sounds of Rome, an empire that had stood for millennia and showed no signs of crumbling. Maximus worked in the city's core, a technological marvel that was the heart of Rome's grandeur. Here, colossal iron machines hummed with raw power, gears and cogs meshing in a complex dance of innovation. The Romans had always been master builders and engineers, but now their skills were honed to near perfection, their works echoing the greatness of their empire. Maximus was at the forefront of this technological revolution. His inventions, intricate and innovative, were a testament to his brilliance. There were the mechanical looms that wove delicate patterns, the hydraulic lifts that eased the burden of construction, and the advanced aqueduct system that brought fresh water to every corner of the city. Each invention bore the mark of his genius and earned him respect among his peers and superiors. Yet, despite his accomplishments, Maximus felt a strange emptiness. He was like a cog in a vast machine, turning endlessly without understanding the greater purpose. His mind was constantly filled with questions about the world outside the empire, the lands and people untouched by Rome's influence. But such thoughts were considered radical, even dangerous. The empire was everything, and to question its supremacy was to question the natural order of things. One day, after hours spent refining a new design for a steam-powered crane, Maximus found himself wandering the ancient part of the city. It was a place he had always been drawn to, with its faded frescoes and worn cobblestones, a stark contrast to the gleaming marble and iron of the city's core. Here, amidst the crumbling ruins and ivy-covered walls, the past spoke to him in whispers. As he traced his fingers over an ancient stone carving, he felt a loose stone shift under his touch. Intrigued, he pressed further, and a hidden alcove revealed itself. Inside, shrouded in layers of dust, lay a parchment, its edges frayed with age. He carefully unfurled the manuscript, his heart pounding with the thrill of discovery. His eyes scanned the faded ink, absorbing the words that told a tale vastly different from the history he knew. It spoke of a time when Rome fell, its grandeur fading into the annals of history, leading to a world drastically different from his own. The manuscript hinted at diverse cultures flourishing, technological advancements different from Rome's, and ideologies that challenged Rome's autocratic rule. Maximus's mind raced. The words on the manuscript contradicted everything he had been taught. The Roman Empire falling? It was inconceivable. But the more he read, the more his curiosity was piqued. He had always wondered about the world outside the empire, and this document suggested a reality he had never imagined. As the sun set, painting the sky with hues of orange and purple, Maximus stood in the heart of the eternal city, a manuscript clutched in his hands and a whirlwind of thoughts in his mind. His comfortable life as an engineer, his loyalty to the empire, and his unquenched curiosity about the world beyond Rome, they were all on a collision course, and his life was about to change in ways he could never have predicted. The sun had begun its descent on the horizon, casting long shadows over the ancient stones of Rome. Maximus, his mind ablaze with the revelations from the manuscript, hurried back to his home, his heart pounding with a mix of anticipation and fear. His home, a modest dwelling tucked away in a quieter district, was a sanctuary for Maximus. It was crammed with scrolls and models of his inventions, a testament to his insatiable curiosity and creativity. Now, it would become the backdrop for his greatest discovery yet. Maximus unfurled the ancient document on his work table, its edges worn and brittle. He lit a lamp, casting a warm golden light over the parchment. His fingers traced over the faded ink, the words whispering tales of an alternate world. The manuscript spoke of a time following the fall of the Roman Empire, a period of darkness and chaos, but also one of rebirth and innovation. It spoke of nations rising from the ashes of Rome, cultures intertwining, and new ideas blossoming. It was as if a whole new world had been opened to him, a world outside the confines of his beloved city. As Maximus delved deeper into the manuscript, he found himself drawn into the narrative. He read about the rise of other great empires, of revolutions and discoveries, of ideologies that challenged and shaped the course of human history. His mind raced, trying to reconcile this new knowledge with everything he had been taught. Rome was the center of the world, the pinnacle of civilization. But here was evidence of a reality where Rome had fallen, where other cultures and civilizations had risen and flourished. He spent hours poring over the document, lost in a world vastly different from his own. His heart pounded with the thrill of discovery and the chilling fear of its implications. Could it be possible that the history he had been taught was a lie? That there was more to the world than the eternal glory of Rome? The thought was both exhilarating and terrifying. Maximus was a man of reason, of logic. He knew he needed more evidence, more understanding. But where would he find it? The empire had always controlled knowledge, ensuring that the citizens were fed a consistent narrative of Rome's eternal glory. The manuscript was his only lead, the key to a secret that could change everything. He knew he had to protect it, to study it, to understand the truth it promised. But even as he vowed to discover the truth, Maximus could not ignore the danger he was in. This knowledge was forbidden, a threat to the empire. If anyone discovered what he had found, he would be branded a traitor, an enemy of the state. As the weight of his discovery sank in, Maximus felt a chill run down his spine. He was alone in this, trapped between his loyalty to the empire and his pursuit of truth. With a heavy heart, he carefully hid the manuscript in a hidden compartment in his study. He knew he had to be cautious, to plan his next steps carefully. There was no going back now. As he lay in his bed, the moon casting a pale glow through the window, Maximus felt a strange sense of peace. His life had taken an unexpected turn, plunging him into a world of secrets and dangers. Yet for the first time, he felt truly alive. His curiosity, his thirst for knowledge had found a focus. He was no longer just an engineer in the grand machine of Rome. He was a seeker of truth, a man on a mission. Maximus drifted into sleep. The image of the alternate world painted by the manuscript etched in his mind. He was no longer sure of the world he lived in, of the history he had been taught. But one thing was certain. His life was about to change, and he was ready for it. Days turned into weeks as Maximus immersed himself in the alternate history revealed by the manuscript. Every spare moment was devoted to understanding this different world, one where Rome had been but a stepping stone to a timeline full of diversity and innovation. As he delved deeper, Maximus found himself grappling with the implications of this new knowledge. He had always been proud of his Roman heritage, of the empire's resilience and ingenuity. But the manuscript painted a picture of a world that had thrived not because of Rome, but in spite of its fall. While the manuscript consumed his thoughts, Maximus maintained his daily routine. He went about his duties, designing and refining machines that furthered Rome's glory. But beneath the surface, he was a changed man. His perspective had shifted, and with it, his understanding of his place within the empire. The first sign of trouble came unexpectedly. One day, as Maximus was heading to his workshop, he noticed a pair of Praetorian guards watching him. Their stern gaze sent a chill down his spine. Praetorians were the emperor's personal guards, their presence indicating serious matters. Maximus brushed off his unease and continued with his day, but the feeling of being watched never left. He noticed unfamiliar faces in familiar places, heard whispers behind closed doors, and felt eyes on him wherever he went. One evening, as he was returning home from his workshop, he found his house ransacked. The door was ajar, his belongings scattered, and his secret compartment broken open. A cold dread washed over him. The manuscript was gone. His heart pounded in his chest as he took in the scene. His worst fears had come true. The empire had discovered his secret. He was in danger, and so was the truth he had uncovered. Maximus knew he had to flee. He gathered a few essentials, his eyes lingering on the remnants of his once peaceful life, now shattered by the pursuit of truth. As he slipped out of his home, he felt the weight of his decision. He was turning his back on his life, his city, and his empire. He moved through the city under the cloak of darkness, the once familiar streets now threatening. He avoided the main roads, sticking to the less frequented alleyways. He knew he had to leave the city, find somewhere safe where he could plan his next move. As he navigated through the city, he could not help but look at the grand architecture, the bustling markets, and the towering Colosseum. This was his home, the city he loved. But it was also the city that had betrayed him. Maximus eventually found his way to the city's edge, the vast expanse of the countryside stretching before him. He could see the lights of small settlements in the distance, a stark contrast to the bright city he was leaving behind. As he stepped into the unknown, Maximus felt a strange sense of freedom. He was no longer an engineer of Rome, tied to the empire's grand machine. He was a fugitive, a seeker of truth in a world that feared it. His journey had just begun. He had a long road ahead, filled with uncertainty and danger. But he was ready. He had taken the first step towards uncovering the truth, towards understanding the world beyond the eternal city, and he would not stop until he had answers. Maximus journeyed through the night, his mind filled with thoughts of his beloved city. He had left behind a world of familiarity and prestige, stepping into a realm of uncertainty and danger. The weight of his decision, the enormity of the revelation, gripped him. He traveled along the lesser-known paths, avoiding the main roads used by the Roman legions. The countryside was a stark contrast to the bustling city he was accustomed to, its silence broken only by the occasional hoot of an owl or the rustling of leaves. In the quiet solitude, Maximus ruminated on the manuscript. Its revelation had shattered his worldview, forcing him to question the empire's narrative, and now it had made him a fugitive in his own land. He wrestled with the implications of his discovery. He had always been proud of Rome, its enduring legacy, its marvels of engineering, but the manuscript had revealed a world where Rome's fall had given rise to a diverse tapestry of cultures and innovations. It challenged the notion of Rome's eternal supremacy, presenting an alternate reality where Rome was not the epicenter of civilization. His loyalty to the empire was pitted against his thirst for truth. He loved his city, his people, but he could not deny the evidence presented in the manuscript. It was a dangerous truth, one that threatened the very foundations of the empire. As the days passed, Maximus found himself wrestling with these conflicting emotions. His heart ached for the city he had left behind, for the life he had known. But his mind craved the truth, the knowledge that the manuscript promised. His journey through the countryside brought him to small settlements, communities untouched by the grandeur of Rome. He saw a different side of life, simple and untethered from the empire's machinations. It was a humbling experience, grounding him in a reality that was far removed from his life as an engineer in Rome. One night, as he gazed at the expanse of stars stretched above him, Maximus came to a decision. He realized that his loyalty to the empire did not mean turning a blind eye to the truth. His love for Rome was not just about its grand architecture or advanced technology, but about its people, its spirit. He decided that he would not let fear deter him from his pursuit of truth. He had a responsibility, not just to himself, but to the people of Rome. They deserved to know their true history, to understand their place in the world. It was a daunting task, one fraught with danger. But Maximus was no longer the man he used to be. He was not just an engineer, a part of the empire's grand machine. He was a seeker of truth, a man willing to risk everything for the pursuit of knowledge. With a newfound resolve, Maximus continued his journey. He knew that the road ahead was filled with challenges. But he also knew that he had made the right choice. The manuscript had set him on this path, a path that would lead him to the truth. As dawn broke, painting the sky with hues of pink and orange, Maximus felt a sense of peace. He had chosen his path, accepted his destiny. His journey had just begun, and he was ready to face whatever lay ahead. In the weeks that followed, Maximus traversed the undulating landscape, the sprawling city of Rome shrinking behind him with each step. He moved from one village to another, becoming a transient figure in the bucolic setting. Maximus had learned to adapt to this new life. He worked odd jobs, traded his engineering skills for food and shelter, and learned to blend into the crowd. His life had taken on a simplicity that was a stark contrast to his past, a simplicity he found liberating. He spent his nights under the starlit sky, poring over the knowledge contained within the manuscript. Its words had become his guide, its wisdom his compass, leading him toward a truth that had been obscured for centuries. However, the shadow of the empire loomed over him. He was constantly on the move, evading the prying eyes of the empire. Every stranger could be a spy, every whisper a threat. But the pursuit of truth was a flame that could not be extinguished, and Maximus refused to be deterred. His journey led him to a remote village, nestled in the shadow of a towering mountain range. It was here, hidden in the recesses of a forgotten world, that Maximus saw an opportunity. The villagers had managed to salvage an ancient communication device. With his engineering skills, Maximus could repair it, use it to broadcast the manuscript's contents to every corner of the empire. However, doing so would alert the empire to his location. It was a risk he was willing to take. To remain silent was to let the empire's narrative prevail, to let the truth fade into obscurity. With a steady hand and a resolute heart, Maximus set to work. He repaired the device, bringing the ancient technology back to life. He then encoded the manuscript's contents into a message that would shatter the empire's illusion of eternal supremacy. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows over the village, Maximus initiated the broadcast. The device hummed to life, its signal reaching out into the ether. The truth, hidden for centuries, was finally being revealed. The reaction was immediate. The Empire's agents descended upon the village, their arrival casting a dark cloud over the serene setting. Maximus was ready. He had prepared for this moment, knowing the price he might have to pay. A fierce confrontation ensued, the peaceful village transforming into a battleground. But Maximus was not alone. The villagers, having learned of his mission, stood with him. They fought with the courage of people defending their right to the truth. In the end, Maximus was captured, but not before the broadcast had been completed. The truth had been set free, reaching every corner of the empire. As he was taken away, Maximus looked upon the breaking dawn. The sky was ablaze with hues of orange and gold, a new day heralding the dawn of a new era. Despite his capture, he felt a sense of satisfaction. He had fulfilled his mission. The truth had been revealed. The Empire's narrative challenged. Maximus had started his journey as an engineer, a cog in the Empire's grand machine. Now he was a symbol of resistance, a beacon of truth. He had challenged the Empire, risked everything for the pursuit of knowledge. As he was led away, the manuscript's words echoed in his mind. He had reshaped his reality, stepped beyond the confines of his world. He had discovered a truth that was larger than himself, larger than the Empire. Maximus had made his choice. He had chosen truth over loyalty, knowledge over security, and in doing so, he had ignited a spark that would change the course of history. He had cast a stone into the waters of the Empire, and the ripples were just beginning to spread.
Thank you very much for listening. Please leave a like if you enjoyed this story. Subscribe if you loved it.